Wonderbook is a cooperative game, family-friendly in nature. You could play with kids, as I have, although soon I have to stop calling my kids kids because of the age. They're now 9 and 11. They still take the label of kids, but that will change. So you can play with kids, it's fully cooperative. You can also play solitaire, which actually is also partially how I played it. So we played the first 3 scenarios together during a weekend, and then the kids get busy, they got school, they have all sort of things going on, and I wanted to see the remaining 3 scenarios. The game has a 6-scenario campaign, so I played the remaining 3 solitaire, and then I reset the world, I reset the game to the end of the 3rd, so I can still play the remaining ones with my kids next weekend, hopefully. And the game actually has branching points and multiple endings, so I may still be able to see different things. However, it is a game that is strictly or strongly narrative driven. You really want to enjoy the story and the plot twist and the stuff that happens. And so I'm going to try to avoid spoilers. So here's the deal. In this video, I'm going to show you the kind of things that you see on the back of the box, which I assume you'll take a look at, and the things that you will learn from the rule book. That's it. If that is already too much spoilers, too many spoilers, I don't know how you could possibly play the game, but it's up to you to stop watching the video right now. Also, you may have seen this, Wonderbook is a game that is played on and around a pop-up book. This is a new thing, as far as I can tell, is a new thing in game design, that not that the book is a board, we have seen that in the last couple of years, but that the board is a pop-up book. There's also a board on the back of the book, which is the very first scenario. But then again, if you look at the back of the box, then you will know that the main board looks like this, and you really deserve to see this beauty. This is it's definitely an impressive production, which you will use starting from scenario 2. And it is not just that this looks beautiful and gorgeous, which it 100% does. It uses the pop-up mechanism as something more than just decoration, than just window dressing. I was really impressed because as the story proceeds, it's not just more things become available. And as you open it, you see that there are things around the main tree that maybe will come into play later. That's not just it. It's that just there are things, there are surprises, things that happen, ways in which the pop-up is used that I did not expect, that are interesting and add functionality to the game. I was really impressed by that. Now, as for the main game, for the mechanisms of the game, again, it is scenario-based. You're gonna have 6 scenarios. Oopsie, sorry, tree. Each comes with its own deck of cards, and pretty much you're gonna read the rule book, and then you take chapter 1 and you start drawing cards, flipping cards, reading cards, setting up the game based on what you find here. And the cards will add new things that happen. Still, I'm going to give you a general sense of general gameplay as you will learn it from the rulebook. We're going to have heroes. Each hero, there's 4 of them. I'm going to show you 2. I'm going to show you Lara, who likes boxing, and Sid, who likes paint guns. And each hero has a plastic miniature, as you just saw. And also, each hero has a card with their abilities. Later on, the rulebook says that you will find upgrades that will give you more abilities, and each upgrade gives you the option of choosing 1 or 2 possible new abilities, so you can customize your heroes differently. All heroes have a number of health points that will be represented by tokens. When the hero goes down to 0, the hero is knocked out. They don't die, there's no player elimination. What is this, 1999? So when the hero is knocked out, they're out for the turn. They will recover all of their health points. But the team overall takes a hit. You have these 5 hourglass tokens. You start a scenario with 5 of them face up, 5 of them face down, and when a hero is knocked out, you flip 1 of those face down. You lose the game when if all of those hourglasses are face down. If you win the game, and there are also effects that may help you turning some of these face up, Then if you don't lose the game, you count how many face-up hourglasses you have, and that determines your level of victory. Each hero also has a way of attacking. Lara, for example, likes to punch people twice, and so she will roll a die when attacking, but only attacks enemies in her area. And if she hits, she deals up to 1 damage to 2 worms. These are the enemies. There's only one kind of minion, so to speak. They're represented by this miniature. They're all worms, but their abilities will change over time, as I will show you. Sid, for example, rolls 2 dice, but can only inflict 1 damage, but can attack enemies in his own area or next to him. And we have 2 more heroes, but that's a general idea, the different variants that they have when it comes to combat. Plus, they have different skills and abilities that are powered by sparks. There's a currency that you will collect during the game, and you can use it to activate different kinds of actions, including player skills. And if you can pause and read, then you'll see what those are. Again, these are the initial skills. Players will be able to acquire more as the game progresses and you go from scenario to scenario. So I'm going to set up a little bit of a fictional situation here so I don't have to give you spoilers. And so suppose that our heroes are here on the board and there are worms around. You have usually 2 worms per hero. So that's how you scale the game based on the number of heroes. This flap doesn't fit down there as it used to, not as easily. Yes, it does. There we go. So the board is divided into different playable areas. Some have dotted lines, and those mean borders that you can cross from one area to the next. Some are solid lines, and you cannot cross those. That's pretty self-explanatory. There are dark vortexes, and that's where the monsters spawn from when a card tells you to do so. The flow of the game is that the heroes will take a turn. After each hero takes a turn, you draw a card from the worm deck, and that will tell you what the enemies do. The enemies will typically spawn and or move towards you and or attack you. I'm not going to show them to you because this deck also changes as you play through the scenarios. New cards are added here, and that's how these monsters don't act always the same for all 6 scenarios. And again, this is the kind of deck you can expect at the end of scenario 3, because remember, I reset the game to that stage so I can play with my kids. So the heroes each take a turn, and then the monsters take a turn, moving, attacking, etc., etc., etc. When a hero acts, the hero has 3 actions, and you can spend them any way you want, in any order, repeating the same one multiple times if you so desire. For an action, you can move to an adjacent area, for example. Oh, Lara will want to do that. 1, 2, she likes to attack 2 enemies at the same time. For an action, you can attack, simply using your basic attack. The attacks are based on these dice that have 3 successes and 3 failures, so it's 50%. And that's it. I say move 1, 2, and then I spent a die to attack, and that was totally a hit, so I can hit my enemies. When each enemy has, the worms have 2 health points, and when they get hit, they are stunned, and you can represent that by laying them down. And also that, I assume, the way I do to keep the board a little less cluttered, initially I would just put 2 health points next to them, but again, that was more tokens to move around. Now, when they get on the board and have any tokens next to them, I assume they have 2 health points. When they get hit, that's when I stun them, and I add the remaining health points. If I rolled a failure, I can, and every hero can do that, spend a heart to re-roll all of my failures. And in some cases, that can be a good investment. If there are sparks in the area where the hero is, the hero can spend an action to collect a spark, and then the hero can also spend actions and possibly sometimes also sparks, again, to activate their skills. As the game progresses, you may get cards that will give you different abilities. I will not show you what those are. These are cards that usually are a one-time use, so you spend it, and again, that's a way you can spend an action to do that. Then also, as the game progresses, I'm going to show you that there will be interaction cards. So the deck will tell you, say, I'm giving you a fictional example. Suppose that that bunch of flowers, of leaves there is super important, and the game gives you the option of look at that leaves. Then the game will instruct you to put a face down card or even mini stack of cards, and then if you're there, say, you can spend an action, you flip that card to interact with an interaction card. Thanks to these interaction cards, other things that just look like, oh, that's it, that's just decoration, landscape, just fading into the background, becomes activated from one scenario to another. A certain area of the board may become important, or may just remain background. There is even an element of looking for hidden details, almost micro macro. Crime City has been so successful. There's an element here in which a card may instruct you as a task to look for some hidden information. And again, it's really fun to move around and you're looking behind things and you realize, again, the pop-up adds to that quality of possibly hiding information in different locations. So this is at its core the general idea. You will perform your actions, very fluid turn structure because you got 3 action points that you can spend in a variety of ways. Then the monsters will activate and usually they're stunned, they stand up. If there's somebody in the area, they will inflict a hit on them, so removing a health point. If there is no one there, they will move towards the enemies. It's fairly simple AI that we have seen in cooperative games in the last decade or so. And that's the idea. I cannot tell you much more because what you do from there, what you do with that script, what you do to complete a scenario changes from adventure to adventure, and again, you got 6 of them. Wonderbook is really impressive. It uses this idea of pop-up book to really enhance the experience in a way that feels rich, that feels original, inventive, and does not feel gimmicky at all. I mean, we play board games instead of, or on top of, next to video games because we like the idea of being in there, being present in the situation, or that embodied experience. You have the tactile element, you have the table presence, which is a concept that I don't remember people talking about much, back in the day, but it's a thing now that, again, board games have become an alternative to video games as opposed to just the game that are out there. And in terms of table presence, this is quite stunning. And again, I can't stress this enough. Yes, it will draw the kids in. Yes, it will draw some adults in. But it's not gimmicky. It enhances the experience. And then there are just some gamic functions, some ludic functions that are embedded in the pop-up that are just impressive. Even as I was playing the last scenario, and I kind of expected what would pop out of that, there were still moments where some secondary pop-ups popped out of that, and I was like, ha, wow, I didn't see that coming. So that's definitely fun. So this game kind of connects many of the threads that we have seen in the last decades, campaign games, cooperative games, story-driven games, and it does this in a package that is family-friendly, but again, not family exclusive. It's not just something for kids. I could totally see myself playing this game with adult friends at game night. I would have no problem. I wouldn't think that, oh, I'm trying to get you to play a kid's game. It really is a great intergenerational experience. My kids loved it, and again, I loved it enough that I had to finish it when my kids were not available. The flow of the game is simple, and you know it. If you have played games, hobby games in the last decade, you have played Pandemics, you played action point games, you play games like the D&D board games where the monsters usually move, try to get close to you and to attack, and from time to time they do something different. Very well-known ideas, and I'm not saying that is a negative, I'm just saying it builds upon a shared body of game conventions that now we most of us have, and it adds that element of the 3D board, and it has a campaign that has, and I think that was impressive, true branching points, true multiple endings. Things will mean different things depending on the decisions that you make. There is a very light legacy element in the fact that you will keep track of continuity by writing down keywords, and you're supposed to write them on the back of the book. And we know what, you know what, we did. I usually don't do that. My kids and I really wanted to commit to the experience. But you can write those on a piece of paper and then, have a new, start with a new thing when you play the game again, if you replay the campaign. Or the other way around, if my kids are at the end of this campaign want to play it again, we can try to erase it, we wrote in pencil, or we keep that, and that's what I want to do, keep it as a record of our shared experience, and then start something different on a different sheet of paper. So, the legacy element does not alter the game in a way that makes it unplayable after the first run through. Of course, there is so much joy in the surprises and the plot twist that the game will probably feel a little less interesting if you replay. Nothing wrong. There's nothing that you can't play again from the point of view of the tactical actions. Again, some things, some secrets, But other than that, you can still play the battles against the monsters. You can make the monsters harder by using certain rules and options. So you can still play it as a tactical battle game. But the joy will be gone. And the joy of the surprises, of the plot twist will be gone. And guess what? It's normal. It's how books work. It's how movies work. You can only read a book or watch a movie the first time once, and then the plot twists are not quite the same. And, reading a book, watching a movie 10, 15 times is exceptional. We all have this or that story that we keep revisiting, but it's exceptional. And that's not how we enjoy most stories. And you know what? I came, after more than a decade of legacy games at this point, I came to the point that it's okay. Take a deep breath and repeat after me. It's okay if a good game ends. It's fine. You enjoyed it. You had this great experience. And one the book, I think, is worth the commitment, the investment of a game that is truly, fully, amazingly enjoyable only 6 times. And again, these days, many people don't play a lot of their games more than 6 times. But you play this one, it's still intact. You can give it to your friends. So you can have friends over and they can play it and you can kind of supervise. The game, again, you yourself will have the joy of discovery only 6 times, but there will be other things that you can do. You can, trade it away if you have to. Give it to a friend. The game is still there, which, I can go to the movie theater 6 times and after that, that's it. I only have the memories. Here you have the memories and the game, and you can still figure things out to do with it. So Wonder Book, it's a new take on games that look like books, and we have had a bunch in the last couple of years. It uses the pop-up element in a very fun, non-gimmicky way, still amazing table presence, and it's a fun family game with a strong story. This is my assessment of Wonder Book, and it's a very positive assessment because I think this game is indeed very good.